do not pick the following college ID camps. How do you know which college ID camp to pick? Which ones that are good? Which ones are a scam? Are they all a scam? I'm a college soccer guy, and I'm going to help you play college soccer. Let's get into it. So, in this recruiting process, people always ask me, are college ID camps a scam, and are they just a money grab? And I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again. Yes, they are a scam, and yes, they are a money grab. Yes, okay, you're being scammed. Now that you know you're being scammed, the question is, how do you find the ones that are less scammy, and how do you, quote-unquote, scam them back? Which is not the best way to put it, but meaning they want your money, but how do you make it worth the money? So that's my version of scamming them back, meaning they just want your money, but then all of a sudden you go there, and now they want to recruit you and give you scholarship money. So then, quote-unquote, they've been scammed back, which is not really accurate. But the point is this. 80 to 90% of college soccer teams all use college ID camps for the recruiting process. So you will have to go to college ID camps. I have this image of this woman who DM'd me on TikTok, and she goes, all these ID camps are scams. How do I know if it's worth it or not to go? And then I had another father recently, who's a student of mine, he's been invited to this Oral Roberts camp, and they've said that they're interested in him, but it's going to cost us $600 just to go to the camp. Forget about travel and expenses. Is it worth it to go to that school? So my answer to it is the following. This is how I solve the problem. Before I solve that, actually, I just want to tell you, it's not a perfect system. So you can complain about it all you want, but the headspace I want you to shift to is you're lucky you live in the United States. International students who want to play here and play college soccer have to fly from another country to go to a college ID camp. A rare few of them who are playing for the elite youth level academies, Manchester United, Chelsea's, etc., can come here without going for a tryout. But otherwise, they have to come to ID camp. So we're lucky we live in the United States where we can actually just go and drive there. So first of all, we're lucky. Second of all, yes, everybody wants to play professional soccer for Manchester United, Chelsea. So did, I wanted that growing up as well. I did play pro soccer, but I wanted to play for Chelsea, Manchester United. You cannot go try out for Chelsea or Manchester United. Okay, that's not a thing. College soccer, you can go try out for a professional level team. UW's facilities or UCLA's facilities. Chelsea literally come to UCLA in the summertime to use their facilities. That's how amazing it is. And that's a college soccer team. Okay, so college soccer is phenomenal. And the fact that you could try out and actually maybe get seen is actually unbelievable. So hopefully now I've switched your headspace to screw ID camps to, okay, how do I use them in my favor? All right, so with our students, what we do is we focus on getting what are called genuine invitations. I will throw up a couple of examples here of what genuine invitations can look like, so that way you can read them and you can go, hey, look, this is what a genuine invitation really is like. But as an example, one genuine invitation could say, I really liked your video, could you send us your budget? I really liked your video, could you send us your transcript? I really liked your video, we'd like to see more of you, could you come to a college ID camp? How do you know how genuine they are? So here's the deal. Coach watches your video. They see you're an ECNL MLS Next player, or an E64 and NPL player, or a DPL or NAL or whatever it might be, ECNL, RL, and they go, I like the video. They're not going to make you an offer, okay? Especially off of seeing you one video without knowing about you. So guess what? They're going to want to see you in person. So then they might ask you for your showcase schedule, in which case you may say, I'm not going to any showcases. I'm not going to be at that showcase that you're going to be at that showcase, in which case the coach will say, well, why don't you come to our ID camp? And that's because this is the only way college coaches can guarantee seeing you. Now, if you're like, which ones are the scams? And this is what I believe, and this is what my evidence has brought to me. The huge ID camps from Wake Forest to Maryland to UCLA, these are the ones that are not scams, okay? They're very honest with you. But these schools, these top 10 schools, do not need college ID camps to recruit kids. I'm not saying they haven't had kids that go to their ID camps and they recruit them, but for the most part, if you look at 90% of their squad, they're playing for an elite level youth academy, and then they recruited them. And if you go to my TikTok, I have a video where I'm interviewing 3 UCLA students. I'll put the link of it below. And they all were playing for an MLS Next Academy, okay? And then their coaches connected them to the UCLA coach because they were balling out in their own teams, who were maybe flirting with going pro but decided they wanted to get an education, so they went to UCLA. So do I think going to a UCLA camp is useful? Will you feel gypped if they don't recruit you? You might. But I would say, look, you should still go to a UCLA camp for the following reasons. One, It's an amazing atmosphere, and it'll be very competitive, and it'll get you used to what a college ID camp is like. 2, the coaches are amazing. On the women's side, they won the national championship, and on the boys' side, they're phenomenal. I happen to live right by UCLA. It's an unbelievable time to get noticed and advice from a very high-level college coach. But that's the headspace I would be going in with. I'm here for them to tell me what level can I play, and to pay a fee to learn what level you could maybe play is really worth it, because that will save you a lot of money. And that's, of course, if you give me a call, I will evaluate your video and your GPA and information and go, hey, these are the levels I think you can play, but how do we make it so you can play at a higher level or find the right school for you, etc. But getting advice or feedback from a college coach, from the UCLA coach, okay, that's better than me. It is, for sure. The UCLA coach's reputation is amazing. So when I send my students to an ID camp, I don't send them to get recruited all the time. I send them so they can ask the coach, what division do you believe I can play? Then the coach says, I believe you're a D3 player as of now. Then you ask them, would you be a reference on my behalf? They say yes. Then you send their phone number and the message that they texted you or emailed you to other college coaches, and you get recruited. We did that with another student. They were getting recruited by UW, went to camp. UW coach John Clark, an amazing coach, was like, you're not the level. We said, could you be a reference? Use that reference, and he's playing Division I soccer. So, and he got a huge scholarship. He got like $124,000, academic and athletic. So, actually, in his case, it was mostly academic. In saying that, the point is that using them as a reference is super, super key. So please do go to those big ID camps. But if you really want to get recruited, if you're like, I want to go there and get recruited, you should aim for Division III ID camps freshman and sophomore year. Go to one major ID camp if you want. But then your junior year, I want you in your sophomore year. So sophomore summer going into your junior year. I don't really want you going to any ID camps unless you've gotten a genuine invitation. Now, here's the problem. Right now, I'm recording this in June of 2023, so the summer is now. My students have been working on getting genuine invitations leading up to the summer. So all of them have identified camps to go to where schools have already shown them genuine interest. That's perfect scenario. But some students are calling me right now to work with me going into the summer, and they're like, what ID camp should I go to? And because of the time frame, we don't have, the camp might be next week that we have to pick. Chances that the coach responds or has seen any video of us prior to that camp is pretty unlikely. So that means that student's going to have to go there cold. Now, that's okay to go to a camp cold, meaning you're going to go to the camp without genuine feedback at all. It's okay to do that, but it's a lot more difficult and much less likely to get recruited because coaches are already have in mind who they want to recruit at the ID camp. That's why they're sending out messages and going to showcases, because remember, 80 to 90% of kids are going to an ID camp at some point. So the coaches are going, I saw this kid at showcase. I need to see him a little bit close up, so I'm going to watch him extra at the ID camp. I want you to be the student who's getting watched extra. Now, some students will stand out at the ID camp and the coach will say, what's that kid's name? And that's because that's an elite level soccer player. If you want to depend on your elite level ability, then go for that. But I know personally in my own career, I was playing low-level club soccer. I was playing JV soccer as a junior. I could not depend on just being the best one at camp by 10,000 miles. Now, I was really good, right? I went on to play Division I soccer and eventually pro. I was clearly a good soccer player. But the only reason they noticed me was because I had so much conversation beforehand. And I'm 5'6". I was 5'5" then, 5'4" then. The only way they were going to know me was because of my personality before the ID camp. So when people say, what ID camp should you pick? It's about the genuine invites you get before that you're going to lean on. Now, eventually what's going to happen, which is a good problem, you're going to have to decide between one ID camp or another because you're going to be on the same date. This is how you decide. One way to decide is you say, which is my favorite school? Go to that one, of course. The other way to decide is which coach showed more interest in me. And maybe they're tied. So you can send another email to the coach and say, Coach, I've been invited to your camp and this other camp. Both of you have both complimented my video. Can I kindly ask you where I am in your recruiting process? Am I in the top 25? Am I in the top 100? Because I have to decide between these two camps. And the truth is, academically speaking, I love both your schools the same. As a coaching staff, I don't know you yet. I'm trying to get to know you. You know, it's important for me to know where I stand. And the coaches are pretty good. Those types of questions they love responding to because that means you're well along in the process. Now, you have to be mindful. Let's say, like I have a student right now, they are debating